everybody. This is Anaji.
This is Tyler.
And we're coming back with another Crossfade review. And today we're going to be reviewing the new sci-fi movie, Annihilation. Annihilation. Is that how they're saying Annihilation?
I heard it's Annihilation.
Annihilation. Oh, God. But yeah. So this is the newest sci-fi movie by longtime screenwriter, fairly new director though, Alex Garland. He's pretty famous for helping write 28 Days Later, Sunshine, and some other stuff I can't think of. But recently he's been making movies. His first one came out, oh my God, that's 4 years ago.
Yeah, Ex Machina.
Ex Machina, which was really well received. I definitely, when I saw that movie, I was like, wow, this guy's pretty good. So this is his newest movie. Man, it took him 4 years though. Wow, it's a long time. His newest movie, which is based off a best-selling novel called Annihilation. And this is the first... I don't think they're going to do this movie as a trilogy, but it's the first book of that trilogy.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was a novel first. So yeah, dude, when we were looking at the trailers, were you anticipating this movie?
Yeah, a lot actually. Well, one, the look of it is already like crazy. Also, the trailer gave me nothing. You know when a trailer gives you imagery and you're like, what the f was that?
You have no way of like threading it together, kind of. Yeah, I feel you on that. I was excited because I'd seen Ex Machina, but so yeah. Let me give a brief plot synopsis real quick. So basically, who we follow is Natalie Portman. She is a woman who used to be in the military, and she's married to Oscar Isaac's character. They both met each other in the military, in the army. She's retired from the military. She's now a professor. And also, just to let you know, there's going to be spoilers because this movie's been out for like 2 weeks now. Definitely go see this movie. But basically what happens is her husband is still in the military, so he still goes on these black ops missions. So after going on one of these missions, he hasn't come back for a year. And then one day, he just shows up in her house. But something's kind of off about him. Like, he doesn't remember things. And then he starts bleeding, and then... They try to send him to the hospital, but they get intercepted by kind of like shady military people, and they basically let Natalie Portman know what's going on, which is like, hey, what happened was this object from space landed in the south of Florida in this light tower, and it's sort of spreading, they call it the shimmer, this sort of like weird shimmery dome that keeps expanding out. But anything inside of that dome, they don't really know what's going on in there, so they've been sending teams into the bubble to try to figure out what's going on, and no one has come out except for her husband, but the way he came out was weird because they didn't even know he came out. So basically what ends up happening is because her husband's sick, she's like, okay, I want to go in with the next team to figure out what happened in there so maybe I could possibly save my husband. So that's really the really bare kind of plot. So Tyler, being that you did not watch any other Alex Garland movies, what did you think of this movie?
I don't even know where to start with what I thought of the movie. It was definitely one of the most disturbing... It was weird. I don't even know how to explain the type of disturbed I was.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. It's like... It's also interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to see like a... I don't think I've ever seen like a cosmic horror movie necessarily before. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. I mean, you find out that it's sort of like a cosmic horror movie towards the end, spoilers. Yeah. And you're like, well, what is this? I definitely like his style, sort of, because I think... I haven't seen Ex Machina, but it feels like that's what it looks like. I've seen a bunch of trailers and stuff for it, so... Yeah. I don't know, what did you think of it?
I liked it a lot. I love this sort of... You and I were sort of talking about this, how the movie... there were certain moments we were watching it, and we were getting it sort of confused with Arrival at times. Only towards the beginning.
Yeah, the beginning had... those
Yeah, the beginning, because like the look is kind of similar, but the stories are very different.
I think the way it's structured too.
Yeah, it's very dreamlike. Yeah. The way he wrote it was very interesting, where he read the book once, and then he waited, and then he wrote the script going strictly off of like just what he kind of remembered. So the movie's not it's not like slavish. It's not a slavish adaptation to the book.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It made me really uncomfortable. I think this is one of the most unique film experiences I've had. Like,
yeah.
Because he and I, we watch films all the time, and a lot of times, you know, even if a movie's good, I can sort of slot a movie pretty comfortably into, like, oh, that made me feel happy, or, like, that made me feel sad, or, like, that made me feel happy and sad in parts. This one does a weird thing where the way I kept explaining it to Tyler was I was like, it was beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. Which made me uncomfortable even more.
Yeah. For sure. I just love the way this movie feels. Like, just, it was weird. It's like, I didn't really want the movie to be longer, but I loved being, like, in it. I thought, let's do this. What did you think of the actors? Like, what did you think of Natalie Portman? Because she's the main character of this movie.
I like Natalie Portman. I don't know how you felt. There were certain times in the movie that... what is her name? That character that gets introduced, she's like super cold.
Jennifer Jason Leigh's character?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just call it Jennifer Jason Leigh.
I felt like sometimes the performances felt kind of like forced-ish. No?
I think Jennifer Jason's performance was...
Like, she's like...
odd?
Like, she's playing the cold person, you know, like... I'm cold. Like, it's just very, like, I don't know how I felt about it at first, and then it...
I sort of enjoyed it only because her performance was not what you really expected of a Black Ops sort of...
Yeah.
You know, like, she was cold, but it wasn't stern and cold necessarily. It was aloof and cold.
Yeah.
She was just like, okay, I guess we could go do that. It was really odd.
You guys want to stay here? I'm gonna go.
It kind of added to this sort of, because the movie has a very dreamlike quality to it, where, like, even structurally the movie's very dreams and memories and what's actually happening get very sort of meshed together in a weird way where you like, a lot of times in this movie when a new scene starts, you're kind of coming in the middle and you're trying to catch up to, like, what's going on. Which kind of, I guess it kind of adds to the tension of you sort of, like, you're kind of grasping for things, which I enjoyed that a lot. Because I enjoy movies that do that, if they do it well anyway. I thought Natalie Portman was really good. I feel like I haven't seen her really lead a movie for a while of any significance to me. I mean, holy crap, this is a really long time. Since basically Black Swan. Which was in 2011, 2010. Because, she's been in other movies, but I think because she had kids and stuff, she was kind of, taking care of her kids. But I thought she was really good. Like, I kind of realized, I'm not going to lie, I've had quite a thing for Natalie Portman for a while, especially, But she's got an interesting, like, screen presence.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she's, like, maturing. Like, she still looks really, really young, but, like, her energy's a lot more... like, mature. Like, I like the fact that, like, one of the things I love about this movie is I love how the group that she goes in with is all female.
Yeah, I realized that too. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. I like that. I like that they did that.
Like, I like Tessa Thompson. She's another actress that I've been watching, and I've been liking her. Like, she has a very interesting...
Tessa Thompson...
she's the one that's...
Thor?
Yeah, she's in this.
You know what's funny? Yeah, I was thinking every time I saw her, I was like, man, this character's completely different from, like, Thor. Like, completely. You're in the opposite direction. You're kind of almost the weaker character.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
I like
watching her.
And then Oscar Isaac is an actor that, like, the first time I ever really noticed him was, unfortunately, was Sucker Punch. But he's definitely an actor that the more and more I see him, the more and more I like him.
Yeah.
He's got a very interesting... Like, one, I think he has an interesting look. Like, he's, like, handsome, but not, like, in a pretty boy way necessarily. It's kind of rugged, but there's something kind of unusual about his face. And he's just a really versatile actor. And his presence in this movie is very... He's kind of playing a couple of different characters in a weird way because...
Yeah.
Because the way we get to see his character is more through her memory, so we see them when they're, like...
At different stages of whatever's going on.
When, like, they're in love, and then, like, when there's some tension going on, and then, what happened to him in the shimmer. Like, you get a lot of different sort of performances for him, and, like, I think what really cemented it, too, is I work at a Target, and there's a new GQ magazine, and he's on the cover of it, and that dude is just so cool. And then he played Poe Dameron in Last Jedi, which is, like, completely different from this. I was reading the interview with him in this GQ magazine, and apparently he would like go film The Last Jedi because they were filming in the same area. He would go film Last Jedi, literally run from Last Jedi over to Annihilation, take his clothes off, and then slick his hair back, and then like go into acting into Annihilation.
That's crazy. How do you even do that? Like in the same day?
Yeah, he would say like
he's like two different completely characters.
Yeah, so he'd be like, so I'd go to like this fun sci-fi adventure, and then I'd go to this like really dark sci-fi adventure. And he was like, it was kind of weird to like jump back between the two, but he's like, it was fun. But yeah, I think the performances were really good. I think like it's hard to talk about this movie because the movie is so. Like, okay, like one thing I'll say for sure, I'm Austin, if you're watching, Austin Garcia, if you're watching this, I'm glad I watched Stalker because Stalker, this movie feels very similar to Stalker to me in the premise of it of like, there's this thing that landed in some area and it's like, we don't really understand its origins and it's kind of affecting the area around it. And sorry, Austin, this is where you're going to get mad at me. For me, even though I like Stalker, it feels like a lot of like build up with not a lot of payoff in a cathartic sense. This movie definitely puts you in that same sort of situation, except there's a lot of scary and beautiful things that are inside the shimmer. And yeah, how did that whole shimmer area make you feel?
Well, I remember when they first got in there, and then the way it's edited, it's like, okay, cool, so they camp down and stuff, they wake up. They've been, like, there for, what, a couple weeks or something, they said? Or months? A month?
So, yeah, so, like, when they... Spoilers, sorry if you watch this. So when they first go into the shimmer... So the way the shimmer looks is basically the government has built this wall, and the shimmer is basically this dome. It kind of looks like this sort of translucent, rainbowy, kind of, like, filter thing that you sort of step into. So when the group first steps into it, there's like the editing is done in a weird way where like there's a lot of times where like we'll see what's actually happening in the moment and then we'll get a memory of hers. So what happens is that they step into it, we get one of her memories, and then the group wakes up in their tents, except their group is really confused because they don't even remember walking into the shimmer.
Yeah. So
they're like, how long have we been here? And then they go through their food, and they're like, holy crap, we've been here for at least, like, 3 days. We've gone through 3 or 4 days of food. Do any of you remember that? And they're like, no.
So already I'm like, that's fucked up already. Like, I don't...
All my self-preservation senses were kicking in real hard. I was like, wait a minute, what?
And then I had this weird thought where it's like, so if you're going up to the shimmer, you're like...
Yeah, I was
can you just jump back out, or how does that work? Are you fucked up once you get in it? Like,
I was trying to hack it. I was like, yo, put a long piece of string on him. And then, like, give it an hour and then pull him back. But yeah, I think the shimmer, as a concept, I think that's probably, like, the real star of the movie in a certain sense. Like, it's just such an interesting idea of this place where it's not necessarily good or bad. Like, basically, spoilers, like, what the shimmer kind of does is, like, when you're in it, it sort of refracts, like, the way, you know, if you've ever been in water and you looked at a fish and you went to grab it and you missed it. I mean, one, you missed it because you're slow, but also because when the water does a thing where, like, when you're looking at it, it's not reflecting, it's not a one-to-one reflection. It's kind of a little off. So anybody who steps in the shimmer, it starts creating this thing where animals and plants and stuff inside the shimmer are evolving and merging in ways that, like, wouldn't be possible otherwise. Which made it where there was really beautiful things. Like, there's stuff where, you know, the vegetation is really lush and the flowers are really beautiful. But it also is scary because it does things where, you know, if you touch a plant and you just get unlucky, you might start fusing with the plant in a weird way. Like, and also just messing with your mind, too. Like, you know, you can't get a sense of time.
I feel like the shimmer is almost, like, kind of, like, childlike, almost.
Yeah.
In a sense that, like, it's, like, it doesn't know whether or not something's, like, bad or good or something. It's, like...
It's just creating.
Oh, cool. A human. I want to make it with flowers.
Yeah.
But then it's, like, for us, it's super scary looking. But for it, it's, like, yeah, I just made this thing. Here you go. Yeah. It's like if person's like, hey, I made the thing.
Yeah. I feel like as a horror movie fan, this movie combines a lot of different kind of horror. So I think this movie is definitely a psychological horror. I definitely think it has cosmic horror. And I think it has body horror, where basically, like, this thing is messing with your body and changing you and mutating you, and it's also messing with your mind. Like, so, like, in the Shimmer, there's animals that are dangerous because they're evolving in certain ways that are not natural. So, like, especially if you're a predator kind of animal, you get evolved in ways that make you, like, more dangerous. So it definitely makes it where there's, like, this sort of external danger that's going on with these animals that they're running into. But there's also just by being in the Shimmer, it's like a ticking clock of, like, you are slowly mentally deteriorating as it goes on, because the Shimmer is sort of reflecting you, but just a little off. It's hard to explain. But yeah, I loved that part. Like, I mean, it was really tense. I think that was one of the few times I've been in a theater where you could feel the whole theater was on edge. Yeah.
So what was that thing? So at the very end, there's that, like, towards the end, that weird cosmic, like, psychedelic... Is that the thing?
I think it was. I think that's the main...
The source.
Thing. Yeah, the source of the Shimmer. And part of the reason why he and I love this movie so much, we're not going to really spoil this part. We can't... I mean, even if we explained it to you, we couldn't really spoil it. The last 20 minutes of the movie is some of the most beautiful and terrifying imagery I have ever seen.
It also, like, breaks you down as a person, too, and you're like, oh, I don't like that. Like, so basically,
we're going to go into a little bit of spoilers. Still watch this movie, because even as we describe
I don't think you're going to,
It's not, this is something that you need to, like, experience. You need to see this. Okay, go.
Yeah, so at the end, like, it basically creates, like, the doppelganger version of her, and it reflects her. And then it's her battling it out almost with this thing, but it's her... What did you read about? Like, the shadow self? It's like the dark side of you.
Yeah.
But basically the Shimmer, like, was trying to make a copy of Natalie Portman's character, and it's like, it kind of is getting it right, but it's really disturbing watching it, because what you realize with Oscar Isaac's character is that the Oscar Isaac you saw in the beginning came out of the Shimmer and isn't actually Oscar Isaac's character. It's the Shimmer that created that. So what I meant by, like, it breaks you down is, like, I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my god, like, what am I as a person if this thing can literally copy everything about me, like, personality, the way you think, and like, just... It basically breaks you down and, like, wow, I don't really matter. Like, I don't, like, nothing about me
and the sequence,
is special. That
sequence with her sort of battling this shadow self is so amazing, because it's like purely visual. Like, there's no... It's just... One is the song. Whoever did the score for this movie, so unsettling. You know what it reminded me of was... Because we saw the movie before this, but you remember when we went to that gong meditation?
Yeah.
And, and the gong was making noises that I didn't... Like, I've heard gongs before. I'm not used to gongs making distorted, oscillating sounds.
It almost feels like... If you're standing and then someone, like, slipped something underneath you, and it just sort of... Like, that's what it kind of... I don't know how to explain it. It's such a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Like, womp, womp, womp. Like, it's like someone taking the dial.
It's a and it's like the music and then the visual, because...
Yeah.
Like, what's happening is basically it's copied her, but it hasn't copied her fully yet. It's basically like this...
Chrome.
Green, black, chrome, kind of translucent thing that, like, every time she moves, it copies the movement.
But, like, not exactly quite like, oh, it's a reflection. It's like learning how to do it.
Yeah.
But I think and the longer the thing is going on, it's like getting better at it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't make me feel any better. Like,
it turns into this, like, weird, scary, mesmerizing dance. Where, like, she steps and then it'll step kind of like her, but it'll do it a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, like, it was almost, like, elegant in weird ways, but it was terrifying because I didn't know what it was going to do to her. And yeah, like, I would recommend watching that movie alone just for that sequence.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen a sequence that made me feel like that. I don't know if ever. Really?
Yeah,
like,
I don't
like
know if
that.
I can compare that experience to any other.
Yeah, I can't. I can't think of anything that's made me feel quite like that.
This movie has a lot of those. There's that other moment. It has a bunch of like shitty moments where you're like,
yeah.
That there's this bear thing that I guess got like mutated somehow, but I guess whatever it killed before, which is the girl, one of the characters dies. Spoilers.
Yeah.
And it comes back, but like at first they don't introduce it as like the creature. You just hear like that girl screaming, and you're like, what? The bear comes in, and it's this fucked up looking thing, and every time it opens its mouth, it's like her scream. Like it like recorded it somehow, or like it mimicked it really well.
People have been dubbing that thing the Nightmare Bear, and yeah.
The Nightmare Bear?
Like if a bear could be any worse, it would be that thing. Because it's got this like, its skull is showing.
It's like half its skull, yeah, and like...
And then when it screams, basically, it sounds like whatever the last person it killed. So it's not even just like, oh, that's a bear scream, that is terrifying. It's like a weird, inhuman, but human scream going on at the same time.
Because at one point I was like, man, they could like lock the doors, they could just stay inside and stay quiet, but that thing's outside, so mentally you're getting like damaged.
You're hearing whoever your friend was dying, like who died. And over. You're hearing them... Because did it just do more than scream, or did it also like... Did it just... I
think it was saying like help too and like all that stuff. Yeah. And that did... I was like... Oh
I was like, no. No. That was one of the sequences where that was a little more traditional horror, but it was done so well. We could hear some of our friends like they were breathing real hard. Because our friend,
our friend next to him, like me, kept looking over at me to try to like. I didn't want to look at him either because I like my face was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I mean, it's unfortunate because the box office for this movie is not doing very well, which I'm not totally surprised because it's a weird movie. But I would say if you're a horror fan or a sci-fi fan, or if you're just looking for a movie experience that's not a typical blockbuster whatsoever, go and see this because it's not.
Is this a blockbuster?
Yeah. I guess technically it kind of. Yeah. I mean, no. I'm gonna say no. I mean, it's got a healthy budget to it. Maybe not. If you just want something as an alternative to like the blockbusters that's like interesting and not very predictable and is gonna show you stuff that you're not used to seeing, go see this movie. Like,
I'm also interested in seeing more cosmic horror stuff because I mean, it is kind of like that. I want to give it the same credit though. It's not quite the same.
It's a little bit more grounded.
I like that whole like the thing of like whatever this thing is. I even think the thing at the end, it's like this psychedelic loop. But I don't even know if that's what it is either because I think it's what like we can comprehend it as. Because I don't know. It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that, man.
That's what a lot of the movie is like. I can't comprehend like what's happening because everything is just so.
Yeah, I just love that it made you feel so many weird things of like this thing is beautiful but scary and just like there was a lot of times like I felt equally like wow this is terrifying but this is also kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a lot of horror movies that have made me. Or just movies in general that have made me feel like that. And I love it. But yeah, okay. Do you have anything else to say about this movie?
Nah. I'd say go watch it for sure.
Go watch it. If you can, go watch it in a theater with a big screen. And especially with a really, really good sound system. Because whoever did the score for this thing, when you get to that part that we're talking about, that music adds so much to that sequence.
Danny Elfman.
Yeah. Oh no. Not to say oh no. I mean he's a good player. It's just like he would have probably not done what was needed to do. But yeah. Okay. So yeah, please go see this. This is a highly recommended movie. Yeah. So yeah, if you like this, subscribe, share, leave a like. If you have any comments about the movie, add them at the bottom. We will answer them. If you have any recommendations for movies, we'll try and watch it. If it's on hopefully if it's on a streaming service, we can watch that. And so just keep watching our videos.
I will give it an Annihilate out of 10. Shin. Wom wom wom.
Bye.